Welcome, and thank you for joining us for NBC5 In Depth. I'm Lauren Granada. Our region has been in a drought for more than 2 months now, affecting multiple areas of livelihood for people across Vermont and northern New York. NBC5's First Warning Weather team put this map together, showcasing the drought's progression. Our meteorologists say the conditions worsened rapidly, going from moderate conditions to extreme. Some homeowners are now running out of water. Neighbor Brittany Davis in Rutland depends on the well on her property for her water. But since it's more shallow than a drilled well, Davis is running out of water because of the lack of rain. She's now been forced to adjust her routine for weeks while she waits for a new drill well.
I pretty much just have to take a tank on the back of my truck and then go get water from other sources. I started using like a 5-gallon jug and just filling up the tank that way, which is a process, but I'm lucky to have some help from people.
The solution is not attainable for everyone, though. Installing a drilled well can cost anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000. And while some people like Davis are taking action, many are deciding to wait out the dry weather. Fire danger also remains high across our region. A burn ban was put in place in New York last week. Outdoor burning is not allowed in any New York county right now. That means no debris fires, campfires, or cooking with fire outside. The ban will be in effect for the next week. Fire crews across our region are up against more challenges as this drought persists. I spoke with Hinesburg Fire Chief Prescott Nadeau to learn more about what fire departments like his are doing to keep our communities safe.
The past 2 months have been very challenging for the fire department for a bunch of reasons. Most notably is the fact that we've had citizens calling the station almost every day, asking for help with their wells that are drying out or have completely dried out, seeing if we can come drop water for them. It's heartbreaking. We cannot supply water to them, especially potable water, because we are on our own municipal well, and so we need to be conserving water just like every citizen around us.
What can we do as a community to lessen the risk of a fire, given that our chances of a fire starting is high?
Yeah, absolutely. So firefighters recommend just to adhere to the statewide burn ban. So that means that, even little campfires should be are discouraged. Any type of open fire is at this point prohibited statewide. As we've just seen on Brownell Mountain in Williston, we sent crews there recently that were occupied for almost 2 days worth of firefighting activities. We're lucky that we had resources from out of state to come help us as well. But what they're saying, although the investigation is not complete, is that may have been human caused, meaning something small as a cigarette butt that was improperly discarded, or I'm not saying it was the cause for that fire, but something as small as a cigarette butt being improperly discarded, or somebody thinking, oh, well, I'll just sneak a quick leaf burn in, I have debris in my yard, I want to take care of that. In this time, we just can't afford to have any open fire because of the risk it poses.
And Chief, what do you recommend for homeowners who are looking to get rid of some leaves? A lot of them are falling right now. Foliage season has been shorter this year. What do you do in that case?
Yeah, absolutely. So, packaging them up. I know a lot of, if you simply go on the internet to look up local places to dump leaves, a lot of municipalities have their dumps that are open that accept leaves for certain weekends. Some have maybe even extended their time to accept leaves because of that issue. The most important thing is just, even if it crosses your mind for a second, to put any type of open burning out of your mind because of the severe state of drought that we're in, and the fact that even one small spark when we're in this state of drought can cause a catastrophic fire.
And the Brownell Mountain fire that you just referred to over the weekend is our latest example of a fire that we're seeing in this drought. What are the challenges like of fighting a fire in these conditions?
So it's twofold. Number one, the fire spreads a lot further and a lot faster. So when we're talking a wildland fire up on a mountain or even just in an open field, what would normally meet some level of green area that would stop the fire or at least slow its progress, in a drought condition like this, it's going to take off. That's going to mean more resources and more time. The other thing it's going to need is water. So in the town of Hinesburg, we are on a municipal well. We have enough water for about 3 days at best, and that's if people continue to conserve. So fire suppression water is readily available right now. I want to assure people. However, if you get a large fire, brush fire, house fire, things like that, that will tax the water resources that are already at a very significant low.
Is there concern that we could run low?
Yeah, so in talking with our town water department, the recognition is that if people are able to continue to do as they have been, being responsible with their conservation efforts, we are going to do just fine, both with emergency water reserves and fire suppression capabilities. But if people don't do that and don't recognize that we truly are all in this together, then we might have to put out additional notices reminding people that we are in a state of extreme drought, and that means that no non-essential things, don't water your lawn, don't wash your car. We've had to alter a lot of what we do here at the fire department, everything from apparatus cleaning to fire training.
Can you talk to me more about what those changes look like for you guys when it comes to conserving water and also adhering to the conservation notice?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, we pride ourselves in apparatus that look good. The public pays for a truck that not only has firefighters on it, but looks good. We've ceased that almost entirely. We understand maintenance needs to continue, but we are adhering by the same restrictions we are putting forth in information to the public. The big change has been fire training. So especially when the weather is beautiful, which it has been, we like to try to get out and take advantage before snow flies to flow water out of our fire hoses for training efforts. We do that on a regular basis, but because of the water conservation efforts, we have canceled numerous trainings or altered how we've done other trainings. For example, we will actually put water into a loop system so that we are using the same water for the evolution. It's not nearly as effective, but we also recognize that we need to keep training while still doing our part to conserve water.
And our meteorologists have talked about the fact that this drought could last months. How is a department like the Hinesburg Fire Department preparing for that potential, and what could that mean for the next few months?
Absolutely. So recognizing that this drought will continue into the next few months, especially the reality of it is, unless we get almost feet of water, that we're going to go into these winter months and probably won't see significant snow melt until the spring, which we truly hope we get. We're battening down the hatches. We're recognizing that everything from how often we wash our trucks to our fire training methodologies are going to have to continue more than just a month or two. We're looking into the springtime when things hopefully thaw out and we get some additional moisture on the ground.
Other fire departments around our region are obviously facing the exact same problems. And when we look across the lake to the burn ban in New York in effect there, are there any strategies that fire departments are maybe using together, or are you guys collaborating during this time?
We definitely are. Fire departments are collaborating all over the state, both for emergency response, as we saw with Brownell Mountain. That elicited a response from not just county resources, but statewide as well. We had the helicopter come in from the Lebanon airport, which had been stationed there, ironically, just for wildfire purposes. However, we're also collaborating from a standpoint of, needing additional resources early on. So I've talked to my mutual aid fire chiefs and recognized the fact that in an emergency, we're going to call for help a lot earlier, especially if that emergency involves a brush or wildland fire.
And Chief, in your years and fighting fires and leading the department, how does this drought compare to the droughts that you've seen in the past and that you've worked through?
Sure. Not only is this probably the worst I've ever seen in my career, it's also the longevity piece that is going to matter. That, previous droughts we've had to conserve water for a period of time, a number of months. This is going for the remainder of the fall into the winter, and who knows, hopefully not too far into next spring as well. So what that means for us in the fire service is what once was just a few months worth of correction on fire training and washing apparatus and things like that, we're now pushing the word out that we have to batten down the hatches for what might be 6 or 8 months.
I'm sure that this is impacting financial resources as well. How's the department navigating that?
So we're fortunate, any type of conservation effort, I don't know the exact dollar figure of what that will land for the fire department. I do know that the cost gets put back onto residents in this town and other towns all over the state. So because we are unable to provide them with potable water, they are having to go to the ANR website and other state websites to get local fresh water resources. The agricultural impact is incredibly unfortunate. That's, again, having to call those fresh water haulers to get potable water and resources for agriculture. Thank goodness the state has that information on their website. And we also have been really pushing people towards the drought reporting tool to make sure that our state has an accurate count of people, both residential and agricultural, that are suffering from this drought.
Is there a comparison of how many gallons of water you would typically use to put out a fire like that, or like a time comparison? Oh, it should have only taken us realistically X amount of hours and it took 2 days and we used X amount of gallons instead because of the conditions?
That is hard for the Brown Mountain Fire to sort of, I will say that brush fires are typically controlled by either the fire department gets a quick grasp of the fire because of multiple resources being readily available. In this case, the Brown Mountain Fire was very steep terrain and difficult to navigate, hence why they needed to ultimately call a helicopter. But in general, when drought conditions are this bad, the main concern is how fast and how far those fires can travel. Typically, we'll see that any type of greenery will slow or stop a brush fire in the state of Vermont. Those luxuries are not afforded to us when we're in significant drought conditions.